Hi, Bridget.
Hi, welcome.
Hi,
Thanks for
hi,
joining
great
us.
to meet you. Great honor, may I say. I'm a huge, enormous fan of the show. We've done an awful lot on it. I have to ask you both, as I've only got a very limited amount of time, so we have to talk very, very fast.
We're used to that.
Yeah, good. Who do you think is the best dad, of your opinions of each other as fathers?
Our characters, who's between the two characters, who's the better
Who's
father?
the better father?
Well, Moish is just riddled with love while he's yelling and screaming, whereas Abe seems very stern and difficult to get along with.
I would have to agree with that. I honestly think that that Moish is the better father. I mean, both of these guys are they have a certain level of pragmatism, and they're kind of no nonsense kind of guys. But I think Moish has a little bit more of a kind of centrifugal. There's a kind of a centrifugal force of patriarchy in that character, and he's a little more. I see Moish as a protector and a caretaker through all of his bluster, and I have to say, he's the better dad.
And the more open-minded, it has to be said, to a new generation probably as well. I mean, if you had to pass on one piece of advice to Midge that either of your fathers gave you, what would the advice be? What would you draw from your own childhoods and growing up?
I would say I as Abe would tell her, as my father told me, save your money.
Explore and pursue what makes you happy.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's very difficult to find any happiness in life, especially from your own making. So I feel Tony and I and the rest of the cast have talked often about a level of gratitude that we've been able to, our lives and careers are based on the happiness we draw from work, and also just that we get to make a living at pursuing something that makes us happy.
That's lovely advice. And I must say, I've read fondly about what you've written about your mum, Kevin, as well, and how special it resonated with me, because I lost my mum in June. And so what you've written, and I could see how special she was for you and everything, reading about it. With your own children, if they announced, well, I suppose it'd be bad enough if they announced they were going to be actors, but the fact is, if they said they were going to be stand-ups, how happy would you be?
Well, I started out in stand-up, becoming professional at age 17, and it's been an entire life. In my case, my children are two cats, so I would be wildly impressed if either one of them could tell one damn joke. But yeah, listen, how do you feel about rejection? Would you like it on a moment by moment basis and unavoidably in your face? That's what waits for you on the stage as a stand-up. Here's what you think is funny, and here's what the audience thinks is funny is a very immediate thing. Tony's done a great deal of stage. He's a Tony Award winner. He can tell you what it means to live and die on that stage, bare in front of a live audience.
Brutal.
Yeah.
It can be brutal. Yeah. Well, I have two daughters, and one of them did go to school. She went to Cal Arts, actually, in the acting program. Thinking she would follow in her mom's and my footsteps. But I think she made a really great, wise decision once she got out of school and spent a year or two, doing the rounds and trying to get representation and auditioning and things. She realized that it was not for her. She realized it early on. and she loved the work, but she was very industrious kid, and she's very bright, and she did not want to spend a lot of her life kind of waiting for someone else to determine what, her path, what it was going to be, and the work that she would get or not get. And so she took a hard right turn and pursued another interest of hers, which was writing and food. She became a food writer, and then that led her to various other things, and she's a writer today. So we did not discourage that path for her, but we encouraged her to move off of it when it didn't work for her. I think she made a great move.
I sympathize with anyone that becomes a writer, but nevertheless, with you're a big Maisel family, with Amy as the matriarch, the mother hen. Does she let you, her children, have views on where your characters go?
Well, go ahead, Jeff.
I think the overriding answer is that Rachel Brosnahan as Midge probably has the most to say, because after all, the entire show is really her journey. And I think they do spend a goodly amount of time allowing her to weigh in. And I think for many of us, I'll speak for myself, they've always been open to any input. But what they have created and written from word one through now 4 seasons is just a cut above almost anything I've ever read or been a part of. So in that regard, I learned pretty early on to be challenged by whatever comes your way with this part. It has been the most challenging and the most rewarding work I feel I've ever done, honestly. So yeah, I feel a sense that we're allowed to participate in the creative process, but at the same time, I kind of want to stay out of the way.
Would you second that, Tony?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of trust we have in our creative team and in our writers. Although I will say that there have been moments, not many, where I have, had discussions where certain lines or just a certain moment I didn't feel was completely consistent with with what we've established, and I felt again, I could count these times on 2 fingers, but I did feel that I could go to them and say, could we make an adjustment here? I feel like this might be a little jarring. Could we soften this here? And they've really been open to that and served. They try to serve all of these characters, service, I should say, all of these characters really well. But they're open. They're open to our to our input and our feelings. So I appreciate
That's wonderful. They're telling me that I've got hardly any. I feel like I'm being waved off at the Oscars. Yeah, I was just quick. Did you ever go home in any of the clothes? Have you ever accidentally gone home in any of the clothes?
It's difficult to go home in clothes from the early 60s, but I've certainly coveted several things, and maybe specifically the shoes, because they can live throughout generations more than giant lapels.
Absolutely.
I have not, but it's still early.
Oh yeah, there's still more seasons, hopefully. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see the new season, and thank you for everything you give us.
Cheers, Brigit. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.